Hey you guys, Jess Washington, COO of the Dallas Weekly here to celebrate Minority Health Month. And today we have a very special guest. We have Chef Dee here. She's going to be cooking two very, very good meals to show us how we can eat healthy. The first meal will be shrimp fettuccine alfredo, and the second meal will be a spinach and chickpea curry. So without further ado, here's Chef Dee.
All right, so what we have here is your heavy whipping cream, lemon. You have your red pepper flakes, some nutmeg and white pepper, lemon zest, sun-dried tomato, Parmesan cheese, butter, and basil. And of course your proteins, which includes your shrimp and bacon and garlic. So here I'm just chopping up or mincing fresh garlic. I used 2 cloves of fresh garlic here. And I just minced them up, nothing too strenuous. If you can't get them all minced, chopped is fine. Melting my butter, and I did use just a tablespoon of butter just so I could saute the garlic. And then I'm adding the heavy whipping cream. I only used about 1.5 cups here. Once I got that hot, I added my fresh lemon juice. Please remember to zest your lemon before cutting it, or else you will not get that zest. And we're just letting that heat up and kind of thicken up a little bit. And here I'm adding both the white pepper and a little bit of nutmeg and the red pepper flakes. All right, and now I am adding the rest of that butter. Even though that there's a lot of butter, but butter is essential for an Alfredo sauce. All right, so I'm about to cut up the pre-cooked bacon. This is just a rough chop, but you can, cut it up as much as you want, or as little or as big as you want. And this bacon is organic. I'll use mostly organic food if available. Once the Alfredo sauce is heated through, and then I added the shrimp. You can pre-cook the shrimp if you want, if you don't want to cook it in the sauce. And then of course I'm adding my sun-dried tomatoes and lemon zest. You can salt this dish as you see fit. I did not add a whole lot of salt. And then at this point I'm removing it from the heat because you don't want the Alfredo sauce to overcook. And I'm adding the Parmesan cheese to, of course, give it that cheesy flavor and thicken it up. And as it cools, it will thicken even more. Chopping up some fresh basil. Let's give it that flavor. Add a little bit more parm. And just so you know, if you wanted to use coconut milk instead of the heavy whipping cream, that would be a healthier option for you. And of course, you could also use vegan butter. Now I have to cook the fettuccine, the noodles, and of course I salted my water. I do need to note that the water is not boiling because of technical difficulties, if you will. You do want to get your water boiling. All right, so we got the noodles soft enough to where the sauce could coat all the noodles and of course become edible. And I'm just adding those hot noodles to the Alfredo sauce. And as I, get it combined, the sauce will become thicker, the noodles will be coated, and it turns out perfectly. And remember, you don't want to cook the shrimp too much because nobody likes an overcooked shrimp. Adding a little bit more Parmesan cheese because frankly, you can't have too much. All right, topping it off with some bacon and fresh basil. And of course you can salt and pepper to taste. And there you have it. So that is my shrimp fettuccine with bacon and basil. So this meal number 2 contains coconut oil, a red onion, garlic, of course, coconut milk, and garbanzo beans or chickpeas. And you have your tomato sauce, vegetable broth, but this is a base that I use, and your different seasonings, which include your red pepper, curry, turmeric, and some other ones, and also your baby spinach. And I'm using hemp seed as a topper. You can use ground up almonds as well. So I'm just cutting up a red onion. I'm only going to use about 1/2 of a red onion. But of course, it depends on how much you like onions or how much you don't like onions. You want to chop it up pretty finely. All right. All right. Let me get this onion cut up, and then I will chop up my garlic. And this was a pretty large onion, so I may not use the whole 1/2 onion just because it's quite a bit. And now I'm only making enough to serve about 4 people here, about 3 to 4 people, depending on the size bowl that you want. And then 2 large garlic cloves. I use a lot of garlic in my cooking because it's super healthy. It's good for you, and it flavors the food. And it's just a rough chop for both. For the garlic, you could also simply crush it into the pot that you're going to add your oil and onions. And by the way, this is a 1-pot dish, so you don't have to worry about having a whole bunch of dirty dishes. So I'm only adding about a tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon and a half of the coconut oil. And of course, once it's hot, you add your red onion. And then you add your garlic. So you just want to saute this up until it's cooked down a little bit, and I'm adding all of my seasonings, which include your curry, turmeric, red pepper flakes, coriander, and cayenne pepper, and paprika. I'm adding here your tomato sauce. I use this. You could also use a tomato paste. All right, and here just add a can of rinsed chickpeas. And once you stir it up, get it coated with the spices, then add your coconut milk. Just 1 can of full fat. And you can use light, but I use full fat coconut milk. And get that stirred in there along with your vegetable base, or the base that I used, or broth you can buy from the store. And then if you use a base like I did, I simply added water. Add your spinach, and then just have that spinach wilt. And you add in here your hemp seed, and again, you can use ground up almonds as well. Hemp just has that added nutritional benefit. All right, there's your spinach and chickpea curry. This can also be served over rice, with shrimp or chicken. I just kept it more vegan. It's super healthy and really good and spicy.